Let's see. What about now? Can you hear me now? I pushed a button. Anybody? 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 Is that any better? I can see a couple of you were kind enough. No sound still. None. Huh. Okay. Hang out while I work on this. Okay, let's see. I wonder if maybe I need to change. I wonder if there's a setting that will pick up a different mic. Oh, you can hear me now. Okay, here's what I'm wanting to know. This is my normal voice, by the way. When I'm online doing readings with you guys, like I said, I feel like I have to yell. I'm normally a more soft spoken person. And so I got this. And so a couple of questions for those of you that are hearing. First of all, thank you so much for doing this with me. I appreciate you. I'm wanting to know, so there's all sorts of settings on this thing. And I've intentionally got my washing machine going and my door open. And so I'm wanting to know, can you hear, and I've got my heater on too. Can you hear the background noise, any ambient noise? I can change it to a different setting. I appreciate this so much, you guys. I'm really hoping that this will make a big difference in the new year. I know that I talked with you guys about wanting to do some recorded guided meditations. I do those on an individual basis. Like I know you guys don't know that probably, but I do create guided journeys for people on an individual basis. And so I wanted to invest in something that would really be great, and that you guys could listen to a guided meditation. It would be crystal clear and quiet in the background. And so I hear you guys saying that you can hear me now. I'm just wondering if you can hear any of the background noise going on that I've got. Again, I've got my little heater going on. I've got my washing machine, and there's a couple of settings that says I can tune out the background noise. And so I think I've got it tuned out. But I'm quite curious to know. Isn't this great seeing you guys on a Saturday? What'd you guys do today? How was your Thanksgiving? I'm curious to know what was your favorite thing that you ate? And again, doing a microphone test. Oh, nice. Oh, good, Joyce. Okay, so yeah, because my washer is quite loud right now, so that's really good. No background noise. Oh, that's really good. So, and I'm not yelling. I can use my normal voice, and awesome. Thank you guys. That's terrific. I really appreciate it. And I hope that this leads to more and better and different for us. Again, I'm focusing this year on creating some recorded content, and yeah, without having to yell. So that's lovely. Say hi. Let me know how you guys are doing. Again, I wasn't going to do any readings. I was just trying to make sure that I'm set for the new year. I can tell you this. I'm doing a massive like organization. Hi, Anne. How are you? I'm doing like a massive organization right now, just sort of my life, and really, the beginning of this year, I talked to you guys about how Spirit was so very clear with me about how it's our habits that really say who we are about our everyday life. And so I worked on changing a lot of habits this year. Hi, Stacey. I didn't do a mic check, got a new mic. Worked on some habits this year. One that I'm most proud of changing. Hi, Scott. The habit that I'm most proud of changing is not ordering from Amazon anymore. Occasionally I do it if I'm in a jam and I know like this. I have no idea what I've got this from if I didn't get it on Amazon. But if I'm in a jam, I'll do that. So I've really worked on changing some really core habits of mine. And I'm going to go even farther with that this year. One of the things that I did for myself was I ordered a calendar that's a 3-month calendar only. And it's a dry erase. Hi, Norden. And so that's one of the bigger sort of activities that I'm working on for myself over the next couple of days and weeks as we're heading towards the New Year's. Being thoughtful about the content that I want to put out and where I want to go with 2025. As we all know, I feel like we are in a portal period, and we are, in the new. I do think we're in the new earth. I've had this conversation with a very dear friend of mine. Hi, Lisa. With a very dear friend of mine about the new earth, and She thinks we're in it. I think we're in a portal to it, but it makes sense that we've already arrived at that new frequency. It really does. Things are drastically different. We may not be feeling them on like a macular level yet, but on a global level, things certainly are very different. And so thinking about how I want to show up and appear in this new vibration. Hi, Angie. Thank you. Oh, mic sounds great. I'm so glad. Like I said, I'm not yelling anymore. I invested in a really quality mic for myself. It has like this boom thing, the arm thing. But I don't think I need to use that. I think I'm quite happy with it here. So if you don't know this, I dictate a lot of my work because I'm a channel. I will get into a trance space. I just close my eyes and talk. And I've had this issue with mics in the past where it wouldn't pick up what I wanted to say correctly, and then I would spend a ton of time editing, and I'm a very terrible editor. I hate to edit things. In a former life, right before this, I did a ton of editing. I worked on creating contracts. I wrote contracts for a living. I wrote catalogs for colleges. Joyce says, I need to stop the Amazon habit as well. You know what's really interesting about the Amazon habit? One, I took it off my phone, so I made it inconvenient for me. Y'all know I won't kick on my computer unless I have to. I made it very inconvenient for myself. Second, I pledged that I wanted to support local businesses more. And so not only did I stop my Amazon habit this year, again, here and there, if as an absolute necessity, but if I can, I'll buy from a small business instead. And so here's a really great example, dog and cat food, stop with the Amazon. Instead of going to PetSmart or Petco or wherever you're going, go to a mom and pop store. I realize it's a little bit inconvenient, but it makes such a big difference in a small business owner's life when you spend $50 with them. It does not make that big of a difference when you spend it with PetSmart. It certainly doesn't make that big of a difference with Amazon. And I really wanted to make a difference. So it's inconvenient for sure. Once a week on a Saturday morning, just like I used to before Amazon, I will plan my little route and go run my errands. And that's exactly what I did today. And you know what I liked about this today too, is I wanted to go for a walk. I'm really wanting to get more healthy and active in my body. And it's super duper cold here. And so I was like, I realize this isn't a mom and pop store, but I went to a super Walmart and I lapped that thing twice and I went up and down every single aisle. And so I got my steps in too. And so not only does this like help us with our spending as far as cutting Amazon out, but it also helps me to get more active. So that's one of the habits I've changed. And I'm really leaning deeply into like, how do I want 2025 to look? How do I want my life in the new earth? Because I do feel like, so I'm 51 now, I turned 51 Thursday. And so what do I want this last half of my life to look like? Hopefully I'll live to be 102. Anne says, I'm interested in everything about the new earth. Yeah. So, as we know, it's a vibration, it's a frequency change. And just to pontificate a little bit on it, not everybody is going to the new earth. It's not like we're going to either leave our physical self. That's not happening. It's just the frequency that we emit and therefore attract and live in is happening. Again, not everybody's going to go. Some people are going to stay on the struggle bus, but, I'm doing everything I can to make sure that that's not me. This is why I feel like I'm in a portal. I don't necessarily know that I've, arrived yet, but I'm doing everything to make sure that my vibe is aligned with ease and grace and the higher frequency of New Earth. And so this is part of it, getting a mic and really exploring other areas of service that I like to do. Like I said, I really enjoy writing personal meditations. And so I've got a couple that I've done over the years that are similar. I've got a really beautiful mediumship journey that I want to record and like put out there for you guys. And so thinking about how I want to show up, how I want my frequency to look, the ease that I want to have in my life, how I can serve the collective on a higher frequency, because that's it too, is, it's not just me making this jump and supporting myself into a higher frequency. Hi, Charlene. Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you. But I'm also thinking about how I can support you as we move along into this higher frequency. And one of the things, hi, Suzanne, that is probably why I'm feeling different the last few days. Absolutely. And so I have this like feeling in my heart, really, really strong feeling. And if you follow me for any point in time, you know that I don't really watch. I don't watch other practitioners. I don't watch other channels. I love them. Like, I love Bashar. I think he's super cool. I love Dolores Cannon. Like, all of that is Steve Noble. All of that is super duper cool. But I want to keep myself very pure. And so I don't follow others. Andy says, yes, on the mediumship journey. I love to hear it. Yeah, it's a really beautiful one. It's actually something my sister wrote through me. And so to take it back to you, because I'm a channel, I just close my eyes and I let things come out of my mouth. And I needed a better mic. And I want to think about how I can show up better and support this swing. One of you said this to me, and I can't remember if it was you, Scott, or another gentleman that watches me, but someone had tagged me. Was it you, Scott? That tagged me in a meme about not being afraid to come out of the spiritual closet and to really, really embrace it. And, I have sort of dimmed my light over the years, simply because of, things that have happened. Oh, I love that, Charlene. Thank you for the encouragement. Simply because of some of the things that have happened, I felt like, oh, I couldn't be me. I couldn't talk about it. I couldn't, things like that. And that's definitely like one of the things that I pride myself on, and one of the things that I've heard over and over from you guys that you really love about me, is that I'm able to, my sister wrote it through me. The mediumship journey is so beautiful. I've used it countless times for myself. But one of the things that I've proud myself on the last couple of years is, and just the whole time I've done this for 8.5 years, almost 9 years now, I guess 9 years now, is that I've shared my life. And I had read once that recently too, that one of the gifts that we have as people, some of us, is the gift of validation and the gift of reverence and the gift of helping people not know they're alone in their struggle. And that's 100% been one of the things that I've prided myself on doing and being, is a validator, because of the amount of experiences that I've had in my life. It makes me capable of validating for so many of you. I was meditating the other night too, and one of the things that came forward to me is that it's time for the trailblazers to step back up. And I definitely consider myself to be a trailblazer and a way shower for many of you. And so that's what I've been thinking about. How can I blaze the trail even further for all of us over the upcoming months and years, especially as we're moving into the new earth? And so it wasn't you, Scott. It wasn't a post. Somebody had actually like tagged me in it. Like they had, at Psychic Kami in it. And it was either you, or I guess I think it might have been a man named Adam that follows me. I'm not sure. But either way, it really struck me. First, it struck me that I thought, oh my gosh, people think I'm hiding. And secondly, I was like, yeah, that's probably true a little bit. But then it struck me about, how do I want to come out of this? Like, how do I want to support? How do I want to be? And this is definitely, hey, Shannon, this is definitely one of my ways forward, is through recordings. I love it. I don't know if you guys know this, but I listen to recorded affirmations at night. I'll listen to several hours of it as I sleep, and it's made such a huge difference. I think your subconscious absorbs all of that. And so I'm super, super interested in doing recorded affirmations for you guys. Like, I'm just very interested in stuff like that. So Angie says yes for me. You definitely did that for me. I love that. I'm so glad. I think I would like to think that I've done that for many, is be the trailblazer and the way shower. But I'll also say this, others have been the way shower for me, Shannon, Renee. So, sounds like my mic is really good. I'm not yelling, which means my voice can go longer, which means I can do more readings instead of being absolutely, you guys won't believe, like at the end of the day, I talk so much and I have to really exert myself so much, remembering I'm fairly soft-spoken, that my voice will get super hoarse. I'll sound like I smoke a pack of cigarettes by the end of the day, because I'm pushing, again, to talk into these mics that weren't quite as awesome as the one that I invested in today. So Anne says, which affirmations do you listen to? Right now I've started, so I really believe that you should listen to affirmations for 21 days in a row. And I started a new set of affirmations a couple of days ago. I want to get the exact title, so give me just a second. Right now I'm listening to Manifest by Jess. I've listened to that channel for years and years now. Is it Manifest by Jess or just Jess Hessop? It might be just Jess Heslop. She's on YouTube. I'll post you. Let me look at my history from last night. It's easier for me. And I will post that for you. But I'm listening to, I believe the affirmations I'm listening to now are bad habit breakers, which is interesting because we've been talking about that today. Yeah, break bad habits, self-improvement. I do listen to a channel called Manifest by Jess. I'm extremely cautious about who I listen to because I feel like your subconscious is very susceptible, particularly when you're asleep. And I listen to these as I sleep. She'll do some of them for 8 hours. And so she's just a terrific person. I believe that she has a lot of integrity. And let me post her YouTube. And so I'm looking to make some things like this too for our group, for our little, vibe that we're in, because I do believe all of us, here with me are in that same kind of vibe. Thank you, Stacy. Anne says I do that randomly. Let's see. Michelle, I'm so blessed and thankful for all your support and knowledge. Thank you. And the experience of awakening and spiritual arena that you shared with me and helping me along this journey. Oh, you're going to make me cry, Michelle. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm looking to do more. So any suggestions or ideas or things like that, I'm a fairly quiet person. So over the years, people have suggested, oh, you should, make content about what your daily life is like. You have those content creators that will just kind of like tape themselves doing stuff. And I don't really have that. Like I'm here, I show up. I live a very mundane and quiet life. I don't do a lot of traveling right now. And I don't think that there's anything particularly interesting about my daily life. But if you guys have thoughts or anything like that, let me know. I did begin yesterday. I'm really proud of myself. So I'm also doing this thing with myself where I'm blocking off time where I'm not talking to anybody, period. I'm not talking other than I'm just doing my work and I'll talk with you guys. And that's been fundamental. And so yesterday I took my little laptop and I sat in my recliner and I've been blocking off 4 hours at a time where there's just no social time for me whatsoever. It's just focusing here with the collective. And I wrote a bunch of articles. I really like to write. As you guys probably know, I write books. I've been working on multiple books for years now. But I really like to write. And so I started writing a bunch of articles about how to cope as an empath. I did a poll a couple of weeks ago on what kind of guided meditations you might like to have for me, and the number one was empath stuff. And I thought, oh, I really want to support my empath folks. You guys do such an amazing job transmuting emotions for the entire world. And so I've been writing a bunch of articles. They're not terribly long, but just like I have one posting in a couple weeks on how to navigate the holidays as an empath. Like that's a big deal. So I've been doing more writing and stuff like that, and just really thinking about, like I said, how I want to show up. I love what I do. I love what I do. I just can't say this enough. Our sessions and our time together, it's so fulfilling to me. And so I'm not in any way looking to get away from channeling or my psychic or my medium work, but I'm looking to enhance it and add to it and support better. So any way that empath book is needed, yes. So look for little articles to come out from me. I think I'm going to start with 2 a week. Again, they're not long, but they're enough that I feel like, okay, these are really good tips. Like these are really good ways to function in the world. These are, things that I've built for myself that help me to function in the world as a sensitive person. Like, just stuff like that. So let's see. I want to read your comments here. Michelle, thank you again. And says, I try to use the time before sleep to program. Yes, we do have to be careful what we listen to. Yes. And I do believe that Manifest with Jess and Steve Nobel, I'll post him too. I listen to a lot of his guided meditations. I learned so much from Steve Nobel. Terrific guy. All sorts of things, just all sorts of amazing things with him. You're welcome. The neurodivergent, blind, and deaf leading. What could go wrong? But are we really, though? Is this really the blind leading the blind, or have we just been asleep for a very long time, and now it's the awake leading and working with the awake, I think. Hi, Sue. LOL. You're just a channel psychic and medium. Not interesting at all. But it's not, though. I mean, like I share, like if I have signs and stuff like that, and that is true. I do have a fairly magical existence. I want to say that. I can ask for a sign from the universe and get it. I can ask for all sorts of stuff and get it. And that is a regular occurrence for me. When I leave the house, there's all sorts of stuff going on. I do try to share through pictures. Like this morning, oh my gosh. Like I said, I went and I had my little walk inside a Walmart because I needed to, it's too cold for me. And as I was leaving my neighborhood, I was at a stop sign and this giant bird swooped down and it struck me. And I watched this big bird. It was so big. I thought, oh my gosh, is that an eagle? Which we don't really see down here, but I have occasionally. And it wasn't. It was the biggest hawk I've ever seen in my life. And hawks are the spirit animal of seers. And so I thought that was amazing. And then I pulled up behind a UPS truck and it had this paper notice on the back that said 222. So I do have a fairly magical existence. I just don't know that it's very entertaining. Yes, Michelle, I am on top of that empath stuff. You know what else I want to do this year, you guys? It's time. I have been collecting past live stories that from readings that I've done for 8.5, 9 years now. I've got thousands of them. I'm very interested in past lives. I always have been, even as a child. And so I think this is the year that I put out the past life book. It's amazing. So Sue, author, astrologist, counselor extraordinaire. Thank you, Sue. That's so sweet. You're so sweet. Thank you for the stars. Hi, Karen. Shannon says, no, sis, I'm legally blind. My eyes pretty much are non-function. You better not be calling me your car girl. Hi, Desiree. Mike is working awesome. I love that. Like I said, I don't have to yell anymore. I can be my normal sort of soft-spoken self, and you guys are doing great. Hey, Krista, how are you? Chef extraordinaire. Michelle, yes. Shed, it's entertaining to me. You spend a lot of time alone there. You think my life is entertainment? It is in a way. It's entertaining to me too. Let's be honest. Desiree says, that is how we connected with past lives. 100%. I love it. Sue says, I need to set up a past life reading. Yes, I want to lean back into those. I haven't done very many of those this last year, which is interesting to me. You know what else I haven't done? Very many of. In years and years, I was thinking about this. When I first opened my business for about 2.5 to 3 years, I did hundreds, if not close to over 1,000 wake-ups. People would come to me that were asleep, that needed to be woken up to their divinity, and I did. And I bet you there are some of you watching right now. I did. I woke people up to their divinity. And what I've been thinking about lately is I haven't had a lot of wake-up calls lately, maybe a couple of years. I think that those of us who were meant to wake up, we're awake right now. And so my role, I think, in this, and please, I would love your input. My role in this is not necessarily to wake up any longer. I think my tribe has found me. I've woken you guys up, many of you, and now it's time to embrace and live in that different frequency and be our best vibrant selves. Michelle, I just have to get income stabilized. I'm in debt from paying attention. Absolutely. I want to say this, we all are. The last 4 years meant to ruin people in a lot of different ways, whether that was your health, whether that was your finances. It was meant to really, really put shackles on the collective, but it doesn't have to be that way. It does. In fact, I went through my budget this weekend. I did. I didn't cry. But it is just as painful for me as it has been for everybody else. But I really believe it's on the mend. I really, really do. We just have to hang out, man. Desiree, you need to do one. It blew my mind. So much clarity provided. Oh my gosh. They're really amazing. They're amazing. When you do a past life reading, it helps you to understand the totality of your soul. It also helps you to see what you've been working on. And last but not least, so my spirit team, if y'all know me and you've had any kind of reading with me, my spirit guides love to be useful. And I love that too. Like if I can walk away from a service and I've been useful, heck yeah, it makes my day. Like, oh, I was useful. And so past life readings are very useful. They will tell you what you need to do precisely right now to clear the karma from that past life and move onward and vibrate higher. That is what I love about past life readings. I also explore your first life here. Every single one, that's something that I throw into my past life readings. And that often, 9 times out of 10, tells you your purpose. Aha. Michelle says to me, tell me more about the call and how much these cost. You know what, Michelle? It wasn't anything in particular that I did for a wake-up call. It was literally people would need to come, and they did come to me, and they would book 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it is. And I could see them. I could see the brilliance of their soul, but they couldn't. And that's what I did. So, Michelle, when you're called, when you've got the ability, come through. If you feel like you're asleep a little bit and you need to get woken up, come on. Scott's blind in his right eye. Wrong one. That's okay. I'm deaf in my left ear. I am. My left ear is formed backwards than most people's, all people's. And so it's harder for me for sound to travel. Shannon says, I mean, my synchronicities and the way I manifest the most non-necessary shit. Yes, me too. Sometimes has me laughing walking alone down the street. Me too. And that thought of the visual makes me laugh even more. Oh, shit. Desiree says, let's see. I missed it. I scrolled too fast already. Desiree says, I hate the color orange and I don't share that with many, but just being called out was everything. Atlantis, my friends. I do believe that was my first incarnation here. And I've met some that have also been in that moment with me there. And, interesting too, last year, Shannon can probably help me. I love you too, Desiree. Shannon can probably help me remember this. I think it was last year or the year before. I had a ton of people who were unaware of their own, like I said, divinity, and they came for a past life reading, and they were Egyptian. They were of that very, Egyptian god pyramid building time. So it's been a really interesting thing for me to look at people's souls and past lives and to see who's here walking with us right now. And there are so many original souls here on the earth, and we all know why, because we're here finally at the scale tipping point. We made it. So, wow, I wasn't planning on talking so long or about anything at all. But you know how we do. Once we get started, then that's it. I can't stop. So I think on that note, I might wrap us up. But my inbox is open to you guys if you have suggestions or thoughts or any way that you think that I can support my tribe better. I really want to know. I want to know. We all got to go. Shannon says, same. I'm not a fan of orange at all, but I can't get away from it. I came to LA from Tennessee, worked 7 years for a company. Slogan was orange difference or some shit like that. We were mermaids together, Desiree. Tammy says, just realizing I'm awakening. I'm so glad you're here. It's so much. It is so much. When you first awaken and begin to experience downloads where you're getting, information into yourself and you're getting upgrades, and all of it can be very mind bending. I recently told someone, because I tell people all the time what I do, and people are generally very curious. It's a very exceptional moment where I meet someone that's like, I don't want to hear about it. Right. But I told someone, they asked me what it was like when I told them, when I first got my gifts and started to awaken. And I told them I thought I had schizophrenia. I did. I thought I had lost my mind just overnight, but I didn't. Here I am. Well, maybe I have, but here we are. I'm so glad you found us, Tammy. Just out here trying to convince people I'm not schizophrenic. I just said it. And I had my mom who's passed, come through. And I had a hard time going into public because of what I see in people. Thank you for being you and sharing. I'm so glad you're here, Tammy. All of you. I'm staying away from New Orleans. Shannon, never, ever, ever. Krista says, I would love a past life reading with you. I would love to give that to you. I'm very curious. So here's the other thing is, like I said, most of the people that were meant to wake up have woken up. And I did a fair share of it. And I feel like those of you who I helped to wake up, we were very endeared with each other. And that's my tribe for sure. And so there are opportunities, or sometimes when I do readings, past life readings with people, I can see how I connect with them. Like, oh, we've met before, my friend. And so I would definitely love to do one for you, Krista. Scott, just keep being yourself and inspiring others, helping the collective. Thank you. More. Oh, I love you, Desiree. I love you, Shannon. Sue Walker says this mic is way better. That's what I was hoping for. It was a very expensive investment, but you've met me in person, Sue. You know, I'm not a yeller. I'm quiet. And so this allows me to be quiet and to hopefully talk longer and more, because we all want that. Krista says my other one was amazing. You're amazing. Janice is same. Thanks again for coming through before I legit admitted myself. You too, you guys, because you all support my Delulu too. So thank you for being a part of it. Really. 222. Krista, I was just saying, I saw a big, huge hawk. Earlier, I mean, a huge hawk. I took a picture of that thing. I posted it in the Science from Spirit group. I have a little group that I run, and it's very low key, but it's really just about documenting the signs that the universe gives us, because it is real and we aren't crazy. But join that for sure. So I saw this giant hawk, Krista, and then on my way back, I pulled it behind a UPS truck that had a piece of paper stuck to the back of it. It said 222. I thought that was really cool. Shannon says, you promised together and not someone else in the group. Not digging this timeline then. No, I'm here. Scott says, I was held on a 302. I don't feel bad. No, honestly, I really thought I was schizophrenic. We have a great aunt in my family that had schizophrenia, and it runs in the family. And when it happened, and my sister passed it when I was 30. No, not 30. I wish. Maybe we should say that. But when I was 42, and I woke up like this the next day, seeing and hearing and just having this, they call it, any extra sensory perceptions and gifts and stuff like that. And I had just like extra sensory things. I woke up one day and literally just walked out the door, and all of us, literally, it's like I walked out the door, I stepped over a threshold into a different world. And so I did think that I had lost my mind. I did think that I had schizophrenia. I don't know if you guys know this story, but I had a woman named Margaret Selby that was my psychic. Like, I went to her for years and years. I wasn't like this. I was a little bit like this. I had, prophetic dreams and stuff like that, but not like this. I went to her for years and years. And when I had my wake up event, in March of 2016, I called her and I made an appointment with her, and I told her I thought I was being haunted or was losing my mind. And she asked me a bunch of questions like, are you feeling cold spots? Are you smelling negative, nasty things? Are you having bad dreams? And I was like, no, actually, it's all very pleasant. Like, this man keeps singing to me. It's true. I kept hearing a man singing like love songs, and like, I was having quite the opposite of an experience. And I'll just tell you guys, it's really funny. So, I'm telling her this, and she's asking me questions, and at the end of her questions, she takes a deep breath, and she says, honey. She's from like Arkansas or Alabama. Honey, you're not being haunted. You're being awakened. And she laughed and laughed and laughed at me. And I said, Margaret, this isn't fucking funny. Like, I'm losing my mind. But that's what it felt like to awaken. It was just so intense and so much that I really thought I had lost my mind. Desiree said, that's us. It is. Stacey, I'm so glad you're here. Let's plan a December dinner, please, with everybody. I would really like that. Sue Walker. Shannon says, you laugh. But I was shooketh. Yes. And definitely tested to the limits of your abilities to hallucinate in your 20s. It takes a bit, yeah. It's such an interesting thing to be in an awakened person, especially when you have extra gifts, because I don't know, it's just such a thing. It's like having delusions all the time, but they come true. So I guess they're not delusions. They're something else, right? Shannon says, I'll protect you. It's a magical city. Hell no, I'm not going. Um, let's see. At least you get good socks, Scott. Scott says I had a mental breakdown that caused a scene and refused meds and came out stronger than ever. Yeah. I'm so glad that I didn't go that route. Like, I'm so glad that my initial phone call was not to my medical doctor. They would have put me on some medication and locked my ass up. I'm so glad that my initial phone call was to a psychic. Isn't that crazy? I did not, I wasn't in this lifestyle either. You know, y'all, I was just like working a normal job. But I was like, no, I need to call her first. So glad that you guys are here. Shannon says, Scott got the grippy socks. Did you keep them? Hey, Zeke, how are you? I did have a really nice birthday. Thank you, guys. Scott says, or Shannon says, Scott, if you made it out, fuck yeah. And if it made you better, then fuck yeah. That's so great. Hi, Ann. Anyway, so I thought I would come on, check my new mic. It sounds like everybody is happy with it. Thank you, Joyce. I really did have a nice day. It was on Thanksgiving, and I did the cooking for my family this year, so I made sure that I got everything I like to eat, and it was terrific. And so I kind of look at it like that. Every 7 years or so, my birthday is on Thanksgiving. And when I was a kid, I used to be like, oh, I'm getting gypped out of this. Like, oh, you know, I'm not going to get all the attention, but I look at it quite differently now. I think that everybody gathers in my honor. And sometimes annoyingly, I will tell my friends at the beginning of the year when I work on my calendar that it's Thanksgiving this year. Make sure you mark your calendars appropriately. Zeke says, Mike sounds good. That's great. Michelle Rogers says, LMAO, I still think I may be crazy. Me too. But, you know, at least it's interesting. If it wasn't, you guys wouldn't keep coming back. I did, Anne. Thank you. Thank you, Krista. Yeah, I think it's a good one. I'm quite happy with it. Like I said, it's got like a boom thing, but I don't think I want to do that. I don't want to be surrounded by all of this stuff when I'm here. I just kind of like to come on, you know, see a big picture and talk. So thank you, Michelle. That's what the consciousness is. It's batshit crazy. Consensus is. Well, you know what, Michelle? The only consensus that really matters is yours. And I'll share this with you, and then I think I'm going to get off. I'm getting a little bit of a headache. One of the earliest things, in fact, the first thing my spirit guide shared with me was, if you experience it, it's real. And I want you to think about that. When you experience something, you're not just seeing it. Thank you, Jackie. But you're feeling it. You're sensing it. You're processing it. You're hearing it. You're in it. That's what an experience is. And the first thing my spirit guide told me, if you experience it, it's real. And I gotta tell you, it's all been experiences. And so anytime I feel like, man, you're batshit crazy, Kami. We know that. But I go back to that original first thing from my spirit guide. If you experience it, it's real. And I experience spirit every single day. I do. I was getting my Coke this morning, which is the habit I did not break this year, but I am determined to break my McDonald's Coke habit. I really, really am. And then soda and caffeine all together and sugar. I am. I was getting my Coke today, and I love talking with the kid at the window. His name is Tommy, and we chit chat. Anytime I see him, I'll be like, how are you? How are you? You know, and back and forth and stuff like that. And he said, are you working today? And I said to him, God doesn't take a day off. Of course I'm working. I'm always at work, boy. Like, but it's true. But I'm happily true with that too. Like, that's the other thing I was thinking about. Like, I have a plethora of my cup, you know, always being full, particularly with connection, even though I feel lonely sometimes because I am largely alone physically, but I'm never without connection because I do have spirit and I do have you. Let's see. Shannon says it's crazy because shit was so random. Like, who is playing Flower Shop on repeat? Yeah, that's what happened. My spirit guide used to sing to me. I mean, just constant. And I thought I was just losing my mind. I began to hear him talking in this dimension. And this was like the final straw too, aside from the experience after my sister's death, is I remember sitting in my living room and I'm watching TV. I was married at the time. My husband was sitting there and we were watching, probably gardening. We loved to garden. And my spirit guide, who I know is my spirit guide now, I didn't know then, was also commenting on the show. And I really thought I was losing my mind. I'm sitting here, my husband's talking, I'm watching this show, and over here is a man's voice commenting. Like, it was out of the world, really. And it still is sometimes. Grilling a brisket. I don't care for brisket so much. Clairaudience. My clairaudience has been really, really interesting lately. My dreams. I've been having, right after my dad died, I had an absence of dreams for about 3 or 4 weeks. Just nothing. Now I'm back to having 3 or 4 vivid dreams a night. 1 or 2 of them are usually prophetic. I have a lot of prophecy dreams. Quite interesting stuff. Sky. I used to see things that would happen ahead of time, prophetic, just as we said. And I'm now overwhelmed with my husband and his Alzheimer's. That's extremely difficult. I read an article, for what it's worth, Sky, that you can impact Alzheimer's with diet. I'm really into that because Alzheimer's and dementia runs in my family. Gotta stop with that sugar, me. And says, wow, what a beautiful experience that spirit with every day. I think you guys have spirit every day in your life too. I do. I think we kind of get busy and we don't look for it, or we actually look away from it. But because I'm so deeply ensconced in spirit, and that it's a very, very frequent, I'm a frequent flyer on these spiritual experiences. Janice is so weird. You already did this and you did it. Yeah, I remember you telling me how many days. And we're going back to NOLA. I'm shooketh. I'm going, hi, Ward, how are you? I was just popping on. I've been on for 45 minutes, though, for somebody that was just popping on to do a mic check. Scott says, I think they call it type 3 diabetes. Are you talking about, that was interesting. Did that change my, interesting. I got a flash on my video for a second there. Michelle Rogers, prayers and love and light for you, Sky. That's right. I took care of my mother for almost 14 years. It is soul breaking. Dementia and Alzheimer's is soul breaking. Sending Reiki. Yeah. Boy, if you ever need to talk, that's sweet of you, Michelle. Shanna says the no soda sugar thing. I mean, that's going to be me. Good. I'm glad you're well, Ward. And Clark says, did you see that flash right now? I'm starting to have spirits talk to me right as I'm going to sleep. That's when it would happen. I'm okay with it. So here's the interesting thing is a lot of things will happen, message and downloads rise right before you go to sleep. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, your world is quiet. And so usually around 10 o'clock at night, it hits me. I want to start talking a lot. But it's because my world is quiet. My mom and the kids are, tucked away, hopefully. Nobody's getting into trouble or going to jail or anything like that. And so I still do have a lot of interactions right around bedtime. But the other reason that we get a lot of spiritual interactions right before sleep and then during sleep is that our guards are down. We're in our bed. It's usually our safe place. We subconsciously, unconsciously know that. And so we can lower our guards a little bit at night. And that's when they're like, just attack. Like, start talking to you and telling you all sorts of stuff. But that's why it usually happens right before bed. Another place that I get a tremendous amount of information, I'll get it when I go for a walk. And I'll get it when I'm in the shower. I am definitely a shower message person a lot. Every once in a while I hear a voice and I call it the voice. I've been hearing it since I was about 8 years old, I think, maybe a little bit older than that. And it's a man's voice. It's never a woman's voice. Isn't that funny? It's not my voice either, obviously. It's a man's voice. But I don't hear it very often, but it's very direct and it tells me what to do. And sometimes I'll hear it. If I'm going to hear it, it's likely in the shower for whatever reason, probably because we're, busy, we're busy doing things, and we're not, busy thinking. You're not crazy, Shannon. You're not. Can you guys hear me if I whisper? I'm just very curious about like how low and normally I can take my voice and still be heard. You guys are so sweet. I love this. This is what it's all about. Shannon said something to me years ago about, the collective. It's all for our little family that we have here. So, okay. Anne says, wow, in the shower. Interesting. I'll have to pay attention. 100%. I don't hear the voice very often, maybe once or twice a year. But when I hear it, it's like I just drop everything and do whatever it says to do, for sure. The very first time that I heard it, again, I was probably 8 or 9 years old, and I grew up out in the country as a country kid. It was the 70s. We were always out in the fields, maybe early 80s, just playing, poking the frogs and, playing in the mud and stuff like that. There were not a bunch of people where I grew up. It was literally out in the country, but I remember I was playing with this girl named Colleen, and she lived sort of across and then down, and we were in an open field just playing, running and laughing, and a big Doberman Pinscher ran up and attacked me. And I remember being on my back, and if you meet me and you look closely, I have scars here and here. I bit through my lip when it was attacking me, and it started to claw my eye out. And I heard the voice for the first time in my life, and it said, roll over. And I did. And that dog bit me on my back. Took a big chunk out of me. But that was the first time I heard the voice. And like I said, it's not very often. But when it comes, it is listen. That kind of thing. Let's see. Water, yeah. In the shower. What's a really terrific thing? I didn't get too much time in this summer, but last summer I did floating. And if you ever get into an opportunity to use a float tank, if you would like to turn your clairs on, clairvoyance, audience, those kinds of things, to go have a sensory deprivation experience in a float tank, it's amazing. Additionally, you can charge your water with intentions every day before you drink it. I don't do that very consistently, but I feel like when I do it, it works. Additionally, you see this little, I can never get it right, this little green lamp right here. That's called a Somavedic. And they're actually on sale. They only put them on sale right now. And it is made up of a bunch of crystals, minerals, metals that have been ground up into a glass, and the shape itself has been studied, and it actually puts out a frequency. That little lamp right there, if I were to put a glass of water next to it, it will structure my water for me into a way that's more easy for my body. Let me drop you the link for Somavedic. A little bit of an expensive investment. They do, like I said, they go on sale now. And they have they're cheaper than they used to be. They have all sorts of stuff. You can get one that is harmonized. Again, it has to do with what the metals and the crystals and stuff are in the Somavedic, but here's a water structuring one that's got a bunch of amber in it. I love amber so much. Here's a Somavedic for deep sleep and enhanced cognition, visual imperfections. Let's see, that's on sale, I think. But they're really, really amazing. The Somavedic that I have, water structuring. The one that I have, I think, is called the Medic. Here's a lovely one that's red, and it's predominantly for women. But there's one that's called the Medic, and that's what I've got. The Medic is about, allegedly, pushes out the 5G and keeps 5G away from you. My Somavedic they've tested it, like the frequencies that come off of it. My Somavedic impacts something like 3,500 square feet. And so I've intentionally got it in this room because it's close to my next door neighbor, and she's a single mom, and I can hear her struggling sometimes. And so I placed it here because not only does it impact my home, but it also impacts hers. And so I hope that she gets that benefit from it. Oh, good, Michelle, I can talk softly. I can be myself. I love it. This is so great. This is really going to help me to save my voice for sure. I've been wondering what I'm going to sound like when I'm 80, like if I've smoked a pack of cigarettes a day, probably. Yes, water is a powerful conductor of energy. Michelle says, just know that you're not alone. Even strangers like myself know your difficulties. You guys are just so beautiful. Scott says, when I was dealing with homelessness, I could hear a female voice. But lately it sounds like me, but I have definitely heard my pop or dad. Yeah, I have my own voice, and I would say that that's my higher self. Sometimes not, though. Sometimes it's my ego. You got to really be careful between the difference. But yeah, mine's a male voice. Shannon says something to do with structure and restructure of watering. Yeah, absolutely. Scott says comes more in the form of thought. Oh, yeah, for sure. That's really interesting, Scott, that you said that. I used to hear my own voice as a child and thought, like inside your mind, right? And I remember being about 8 or 9. This is at the end of my gifts for a long time. I shoved them down. I remember being in the driveway. We're getting into the van or whatever we had. And I said to my mom, Mom, do you ever hear yourself talk inside your mind? And she said, no, don't ever tell anybody that too. They'll think you're crazy. And when I was a child, I was extremely gifted and I shut my gifts off. I guess one way or another, by hook or by crook. That's one of my favorite sayings, by hook or by crook. Spirit was going to make sure. Joyce says, wow, that's remarkable. You still love big dogs. I know that you love the Danes. I love Great Danes so much. It took me a very long time to be okay with dogs at all. I remember being in my 20s, and if somebody had a dog in their home, I wouldn't even go to it. I'd be like, I'm sorry, I can't come. So scared. I'm still scared of dogs. But that Great Dane that I had, though, Kiki, she changed my life, and she really opened me up to the loving vibration that dogs have. She was a heart animal. She really did her job, and she changed my life. But I'll tell you guys a funny story. She was a gift to me, believe it or not. And the man that gave her to me traveled a lot, so he wasn't around, and so it was just me and the dog. And I remember her being probably 6 months old. She's still real itty bitty, right? For a Great Dane, I could pick her up. People thought she was a black lag, but at 6 months old, because she was about that size, I could pick her up. And so I remember sitting on my couch, and she's sitting on the ground in front of me. It's called a Somavedic, Michelle, Somavedic. It is worth it. I can feel the difference when I'm gone from my house for a couple of days and I come back in here. Wow. So I remember Kiki being sitting on the floor in front of me, and she was looking at me and I was looking at her. And she started growling and lifting her teeth at me. And I was like, holy shit, this dog's going to bite me. And she's big at, six months old or so. I mean, when she was an adult, she weighed 150 pounds. I've dragged her around too. I had to. She had a lot of medical problems. I literally have had to pick her up and drag her. But at 6 months old, she's probably about 75 pounds. I mean, she's a big girl, right? Big girl, big Great Dane. And she's growling at me and stuff like that. And I realized that she wasn't being malicious towards me. She had just discovered that she could growl, and she was trying to interact with me. And that was such a big moment for me around dogs, was, realizing that sometimes that's just communication. So I loved my Great Dane so very much. There's a lady across the way from me that has one, and I keep threatening to go over there and pet it. I hope she lets me someday. Somavedic. Oh, you're welcome with the links. Hi, Maria. How are you? And says my condolences about the dog attack. Thank you. Thank you. I try my best, but it was a situation, and I have to remember that, when I was little, that dog that attacked me, she had just had a litter, and I think she was trying to protect her litter, even though I was not in their yard, or I was in the field by their yard and away. But I think she was trying to protect her litter, or she was a hunter and she saw something small yelling and playing in the grass. That could be too. Thank you. Dogs are beautiful. They're here really, really to transmute for us. Michelle says, I'm so sensitive to perfumes. I only wear amber resin. Oh, maybe you want the amber one. And it feels, there's a coupon. Make sure you get the coupon. Michelle, I've been getting, let's see if it's in my inbox. It's 20% off right now. The amber one's quite expensive. I think that's their new one. Like I said, I have the Medic. Let's see. I love the amber very much too. I have a couple of really cool pieces of it. When I was a kid, I used to be able to do you remember you could get a piece of amber with a scorpion put in it? Super cool. Jenna says, okay, I'm not the only one with my own voice. No. And the more from the back, back of my head, in my ear, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's in my mind for sure. And Clark says, let's have a group conversation sometimes about the latest tech to support ascending and protecting our bodies. That's a great idea, Anne. There's a lot that I do. Oh my gosh, I have so much. I guess that would be a really good article to write as I've been writing more, and I'll be putting those out and posting those for you guys about empaths and how to be in the world. I guess that's a really good article, and I could probably drop some links to some of the things that I've discovered over the years that have really, really helped me to be in my home and to feel vibrationally protected and good. I'm telling you, the vibe of my home, there's been a couple of you have been to my home. I had a birthday party last year and it's more of an open house for my local folks. And so a couple of you have been here, and sometimes I'll do group readings, not very often, but folks have been here too, and everybody comments about how different my home feels, and it's with purpose. There are things that I do and have placed in every single room of my home to protect me, to raise my vibration. And here's a really good example. Every single room in my home, every single one has a plant, at least one, every single one, because they clear our vibes for us. Every single room, and I mean this without exception, including my kitchen, has a salt lamp. Every single one. Tourmaline bodysuit. That's the only way to get through. Maria's had a harlequin. Good night, Scott. I'm doing laundry too. But yeah, that's a great idea, Anne. Would you mind inboxing me that? And I will put that in my list. Thank you. Have a great night, Scott. I'm so glad you're here. Maria. So Maria had a harlequin Dane. I did too. Harlequins are the black and white. I had Kiki, my black Dane. She had a little white spot here, and I can't remember what that was called, a tiny white spot here. Otherwise, she was just such a beautiful dog. And in fact, I remember taking her into the vet around 1 year old, maybe 2, and the vet had said to me she was an absolute perfect. Whoa! What happened? Did you fall over and get you? So scary. What was scary? Yeah. Oh, she was an absolute perfect specimen of a Great Dane. She was a stunner. I don't think I can drop a photo in the comments. I wonder if I can drop a photo in the comments. Loved her so much. No photo in the comment. Loved them. Sue, trip out. So good to hear all of your folks hearing your own voice. Yeah, I wish there were 2 separate personalities of me in my head. No, we're all hearing. I mean, me too. I love them. Sue says you give off that vibe too, though, that I'm crazy. Where it says I can channel when I put in effort into being present. Yeah, that's a really big secret to I think experiencing spirituality is to be present, like fully in this moment. I think that's probably why I gotta turn my calendar over. I think that's probably why I experience it so often, is that I try really hard to be here in the now. It's good. Anne says, I just ordered a purple Tesla plate. Oh, and bracelet. I'm trying to find more things to protect from EFF. Yes, that Somavedic, Anne, is super terrific. Stacey says, this live is interesting and informative. Oh, I love that. Thank you. Like I said, I was just planning on jumping on for a mic check. But here we are chatting. And so I just, I love all of this. Thank you. But definitely, yes, some things that you can protect yourself. I'm really into structured water. I think that is important. And so like I said, you can put a water next to this and it'll structure it for you. Let's see, Sue says no, the peace vibe. This is all about the peace for sure. Yeah, so I'm trying to think of what else I do with EMF. So here's a really interesting tip. I don't know this is necessarily EMF, but under my mattress, in between my mattress and my box spring, which isn't quite, it's a platform bed, I have a bag full of small hematite stones. Those collect and dispel negative energy for you. And then I also have selenite set up in certain patterns in between my bed and the platform that it's on. The selenite, the points in particular, if you ever do crystal work, the shape of the crystal is really important, and the direction things point. And so like right now I've got a beautiful chalk. So this is probably amongst my favorite stones. I've got my little light too. I don't need it. But I have an amazing, this is called tourmalated quartz. or rutilated quartz. It's got it's quartz with black tourmaline in it, and so as you can see, it's a point. And so I actually keep this pointed towards myself to enhance my gift and to dispel any negativities. But speaking of favorite, this is my favorite crystal of all time. This is, I can't remember what kind of amethyst this is called, but I've got tons of it everywhere. But in particular, this stone is my favorite, period. I remember when I had seen this, I had asked for, just randomly pick. I was like, just pick one and send it to me. I really like it. And this actually happens to fit in my hand really interestingly. And so I often will have it like this. It's also got a divot in it, and so I use it almost as a worry stone. I can't remember what this is called right now. Anybody else? Chevron amethyst. Thank you very much. I was going to ask for help, but we got it. So, but I've got that, and then Krista, who was just here, sent me a beautiful moonstone pendulum. So don't use the pendulum, but I really like the point towards me too. So, Tommy says, probably the most informative mic check I've ever been a part of. Well, thank you very much. I'm so glad that you're here. And so they've been reading about structured water. I surely get with some of you again. Here's a really great thing too. I connected myself with this guy named Ben a couple of years ago. He is amazing. He runs the Schumann Resonance. And Ben is how I got turned on to navel oiling, which is castor oil in your belly button. I gotta do my camera too, it seems blurry. But castor oil, if you guys find a good webcam, let me know. Castor oil in the navel. Let me post you his page. He's really great, very interesting fellow. Talks a lot about structured water as well. I learned from that. He does Hertz meditations with sacred geometry. Really, really cool guy. He's very tuned into the Schumann resonance itself, which if you don't know, there is an electrical storm. Let me post that group. There's an electrical storm in the center of the earth, and then there's one that goes around the earth, and the Schumann resonance measures. Yeah, well, that's interesting. Of course, I randomly opened the Schumann resonance for my birthday. All sorts of information. The Schumann resonance measures the intensity of the electrical storm, and that, my friends, is when we get into talking about, let me post the group here, when we get into talking about solar flares and being impacted by things like that. The Schumann resonance is super duper important. Let's see. Just ordered. Oh, I don't know what a Tesla plate is, though. I'm going to Google that real quick because we don't know. What's a Tesla plate? Ooh. That's cool. What's it do? I'm really curious, Anne, what a Tesla plate does. Raise the vibrational rate of an individual using them. That's really cool. What do you use it for? Do you put stuff on it? One of the things that I'm looking for is something for my cell phone. I used to have a piece of, I think it was tourmaline that I'd stuck to the back of my phone as a little EMF protector, but I'm curious to know if that Tesla plate will do the same thing. Chevron amethyst. Thank you, Krista. Miss Krista. Stacey says, you guys are just so cute. Dream amethyst. Thank you. I love amethyst too. Good group. Thank you. Yeah, it's a really good group. And then follow Ben's page also. That's where he talks about navel oiling and castor oil, and he actually helped me to find a really quality organic cold pressed castor oil, which it all makes such a big difference. And oftentimes you guys will ask me like why I look so young, and castor oil is definitely part of the secret. I don't have any makeup on right now, I'm sure you guys can tell, but castor oil, I like to put it under and on my eyes, and that makes a huge difference with any kind of aging. Also, I had a client tell me last week she's been castor oiling also her eyelids, and she thinks her vision's improved. Isn't that crazy? Terrific. I love amethyst too. In fact, One of the ways that I have my home is that I like to group my crystals together. And so I have, with the exception of the chevron amethyst in here, all of my amethyst is kept on top of a cabinet of very special it's my cabinet of curiosities. All my little gifts go in there. Like Stacy, who was just here, gave me a beautiful etched glass with a beautiful dragonfly on it, and it's in my little special cabinet. My grandmother's earrings are in my special cabinet. Feathers, things that I find, things that you guys gift me, my little trinkets. When I die, I swear to God, somebody's gonna have a real good inheritance, Quinn. But I like to group my stuff. So my amethyst is on top of my special cabinet. My bedroom, I've probably got 20 pieces of rose quartz, if not more, in there. I also have some angel aura quartz in my bedroom, quite a bit of that. And then a clear quartz selenite, tons of selenite. Sue, who was just here too, gave me a beautiful selenite lamp a couple years ago. That's in my bedroom. So I group my home by, or my crystals into clusters. I don't know. I just find that to be more sort of efficient for myself. So let's see. You guys are in that group. Good. A lead foam case. Yeah, that's probably the only way. I do have a Faraday bag. If you haven't heard of a Faraday bag, you should hear of a Faraday bag, you guys. I did get a Faraday bag a couple of years ago, and Faraday bags are interesting. I'm trying to look at what's the purpose of a Faraday bag? Shields devices from outside signals. It's really, really good. I would get one if I were you. I probably should keep my phone in it at night. Shannon says, I watched something else about baking soda and something about bath for radiation. That's really good. My friend Nisha, if you don't follow her, she is on YouTube and she's under the Soul Magi. She is very into spiritual baths. Me, not so much. Mostly because I'm super tall. And as Sue Walker will tell you, I'm tall, unexpectedly tall. And baths are not so comfortable for me, but my friend Nisha is really into spiritual baths, and I'll see if I can't get her to share a little bit more about one with you. She's always telling me. Krista says, I've heard of castor oil can break down cataracts. Well, maybe that's why my client said that she's been putting it on her eyelid and had improved vision. I'm going to start putting it on my eyelids. And any unnatural substances, that's really cool. I actually, whether you guys know it or not, in, I don't know, September, October, I had a breast cancer scare. It was really serious. I had little lumps and stuff in me, and I used castor oil packs on them, and by the time I went for a second mammo, they couldn't find the lumps anymore. I'm not saying anything in particular, I'm just saying. Tammy says, huge user of castor oil. It's replaced everything so much. When the grandkids get hurt, they say, I need some oil, and then off they go, magically cured. Castor oil is a really interesting thing, huh? You know, everything has its own vibration. And so I'm sure castor oil has has been studied. I'm sure we could go out there and find the vibration of castor oil, but it's really high. Joyce says, I've been using castor oil too. It's magical. If you don't have packs, though, if you don't have packs, let me see if I can't find the packs that I got. So first of all, here's the castor oil that I use. I really like this one. I feel like, oh, it's on sale today. Ooh, y'all. Not for me. I have a big bottle, but if you guys are interested in castor oil and learning about that, let me copy the link here. Here's the castor oil brand that I got. It was actually recommended by Ben in the Schumann Residence, and I just thought, oh, it's so good. Castor oil packs. Let's see. Let me see if I can't find the oil pack. You know, they say it's just great for everything. Here's the one that I have. It's quite a set, but you can put it anywhere. And like I said, I put it on me before I had my other mammo, and they couldn't find anything. Anne says the designer of the purple plate was a friend of Tesla. Oh, I think Nikolai Tesla was a star person. I think he was an alien of a very advanced race, just like the Atlantis people. Atlanteans were here to raise technology and cooperation. And I think that's what Nikolai Tesla was. Please, if you have not done any kind of rabbit hole around Nikolai Tesla, you should. A friend of Tesla learned some of his theories and made purple plates, so it's officially not a Tesla plate, but it's got his influence in it. It captures the source frequency in the metal and radiates it. Only buy from purpleplates.com. Thank you very much. Let me go and look at that. I'm very curious. Purpleplates.com. Wow, this is super cool, Anne. Thanks for sharing that. I'm going to post that. Purpleplates.com. Wow. Ooh. Wow. I wonder if this would be good to put, like in between your mattresses. Oh, they put it on them. Ooh, I love this. A couple of months ago, I had met with an older friend of mine, and she was doing some kind of like patches of stem cell therapy, and was just amazed at that too. There's so much out there, you guys, that we're not using that we could. Michelle, I just want a bath where my knees and be in the same water at the same time. I'm only 5'6". Y'all, I'm like 5'8" and maybe a half, maybe closer to 5'9". And I feel like, Michelle, I can never get myself in a full bathtub. Marie says, been used in my family for generations. Castor oil, fantastic. And says castor oil is very healing. Just don't get it in your eyes because it damages people's eyes. Yeah, so that's the interesting thing about castor oil too, is I feel like it moves. And so if I put it here, it'll slowly start like making its way down my face. But it's fantastic. Michelle says, such an interesting being, Tesla. Tesla was really interesting. I mean, there's a reason they did him the way they did at the end. Tesla is said to have meditated daily and got his information from otherworldly beings. I didn't know that. I absolutely believe that. Intuitively, I believe that he's probably from Atlantis. I think he was a higher dimensional being. I think he was one of the last higher dimensional beings to be open about it. Thank God we're seeing it now. You know, people are safe to come out now. But I do think that he was one of the last ones to be open about it. I think he had a great mission and he worked tirelessly on it. Fantastic, fascinating being. You know what I would love? Maybe I'll do this myself, since I am able to connect with beings and stuff like that. But I'm very curious about what Tesla would have to say in the other dimensions now that he's crossed over and has sort of a different view of us. I'm really surprised. So if you guys know who Dolores Cannon was, she was a hypnotist, and she got very interested in life between life, and she would hypnotize her clients and take them into an in-between space, which is really heaven. And she did a lot of work there, a lot of research there. But one of the things that she did, is she wrote a couple books about it, is she would take her clients into a channeling phase. And there was a being that constantly came through. And so she wrote books channeled from him, and it was Nostradamus. But I would have been very curious, maybe that's my calling, to see, whoa, sorry, what Tesla would have to say from the other side now. Interesting. Well, you guys, I think that's my sign. Look at this. We've gone for an hour and a half, talked about everything and anything, and my voice isn't quite hurting, but I'm definitely ready for a little bit of a break. Michelle says, yes, I would want to watch her now. Maybe that's what I should do. I mean, I'm very tuned into him, and maybe I could channel a whole book by him. That would be really fascinating. Interesting. Maybe that needs to go on the to-do list for this year, is to channel Tesla. I've been able to channel quite a few celebrities. When I first began, before I was doing readings, my sister had taught me how to do medium work. And, you know, not really knowing a lot of people that had passed, I would channel celebrities. I have to tell you, so my main guide is a celebrity, the man that was singing and talking to me in the beginning. It's Michael Hutchence from INXS. I've had quite an amazing relationship with him, but uh, I've also channeled a lot of other celebrities. I channeled Corey Haim for quite a bit, and I have a very good understanding about what's happened with him. One of the more funnier celebrities that I ever channeled was Liberace. He just like showed up one day and wanted to talk, and I'd actually really like to go to his home. It's kind of on my list. I've never been to Las Vegas at all, but I want to go next year, and I want to go to Liberace's home. I think that it would be really amazing for me. He was very, very funny, but probably one of the best messages that I got aside from Michael Hutchence, and I have to go look up this guy's name. Amazing soul. I can get it to you in a second. Yeah, there it is. Andy Whitfield. I didn't even have to look it up. Andy Whitfield. If you don't know who Andy Whitfield is, he was an actor. He passed of cancer probably 10 years ago. And I happened to channel him twice. And he had beautiful messages. Beautiful messages. Andy Whitfield. I know I really want to go to Liberace. Maybe we could all like meet and we'll have like a Liberace tour. I really want to go. Oh, I'm so glad that you came. Thank you, Joyce. I love you, Stacey. Thank you so much for being here. Michelle says, Corey Haim. I have so many questions about him and what happened. I happen to know it all. Spartacus, that's right, Andy Whitfield from Spartacus. Liberace, I'm telling you, Liberace was so funny. He was so funny. He came, you know, because I can see them and hear them. It's like a whole interesting experience. I can remember he came very, very sparkly and sequiny, but he had like sequined socks on when he came to me, and he was so funny. One of the first things he said to me was, "Who did I think I was fooling?" Like nobody, Liberace. You were fooling nobody. He was so funny. Liberace was great. I only interacted with him one time, but that was enough. He was a terrific soul. I'd love to know more about that. And grounding sheet. So glad you guys came. Krista, love you. Field trip to Liberace's house. Let's do it. Let's have a field trip. Let's just all get on the bus. We'll go to Liberace's house. Michelle says, yes, cried when Andy Whitfield passed. Yeah, he was just an amazing soul. I didn't come across him until he had already passed. And I did watch Spartacus. I have watched Spartacus, but only the first season. I can't get into anything beyond that. I'm sorry. But Andy Whitfield was just a terrific soul. Really was. So with that, to all my terrific souls that have stayed with me and mic checked me for the last hour and a half, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to this upcoming year. I do think it's a turning point. And I do think that our daily habits are going to support the frequency that we anchor ourselves into. And so please, friends, as we're heading towards the close of this year, I do believe the portal is open for another 8 weeks, 6 weeks. Please, friends, consider your life. Consider the life that you want to have, and consider what your, I want to get the right word is, but what you need to do, how you need to pitch in order to have the life that you want to have. Spirit's willing to pitch in the other half, but we have to have some energy, some skin in the game ourselves. And so please, my friends, please think about the life you want to have in 2025. And get actioning on it. Get it out. Get it on paper. Get it written down. Just get actioning and moving on it. It's going to be amazing for us. One other thing. I bought something, and I want to share this with you. I think this is going to change my life, and I think it's going to change other people's lives too. So, and I mentioned it at the beginning of our conversation here. But I think that this is going to change my life, and I hope that it changes yours. In fact, I was thinking we could have a group call. Speaking of a group call, I think we could have a group call on this and work through some of this stuff together. Sky, I'm so glad that you were here. Michelle, glad you were here. All right. I think this is my sign. Enjoy your weekend, you guys. I will see you Wednesday. I think. Let's see what we got going on next month. Next month. I'll see you Wednesday for some free psychic readings. Lots of love to every single one of you. Thank you for being a part of my journey. I really enjoyed our conversation today. Mwah.